Welcome to Obsessed with Success, starring Russell Morgan.
Hello, and welcome to Obsessed with Success with Russell Morgan, the show where legal insight meets entrepreneurial passion. On this podcast, we go beyond the basics of legal practice to uncover the personal stories, strategic decisions, and bold moves that define today's most successful legal professionals. My name is Kevin Rosenquist, and as always, I am joined by Russell Morgan. Russell, it's so good to see you again.
Good to see you as well, Kevin.
At what point did you start hiring? And what was your biggest mistake in that process?
I think we started at hiring right after our first year. And biggest mistake in the process has to be screening. Unfortunately, people don't always tell the truth when they're coming into a job. So when you start taking people for the sake of needing someone, it can become an issue. Mm-hmm. So we continue till this day to refine our hiring processes. And this is an extremely important part. When we talk about delegation, if you don't have support staff that you can rely on, who share your vision, it's impossible for you to grow. But to get to that point, you have to screen and screen again, and then screen a third time, and then maybe do a trial. And at that point, we can talk about something permanent. And look, it's a process, but finding quality people is hard. And to that same end, when you find quality people, you take care of them. You make sure that they like what they're doing, that they're well paid, that they enjoy their role, that they're not overworked, that they're happy in a comfortable work environment. So that had to be one of our biggest growing pains, because unfortunately, sometimes you need someone to get something done, but just someone doesn't cut it.
Yeah, for sure. If somebody you knew was doing their first hire right now, of hiring their first team member, what would be a piece of advice you would give them, aside from screen?
I guess the question is, regardless of what you're hiring for, what value add are they bringing to your client? And more importantly, can you trust, or rather rely on, this person with certain tasks without necessarily having to micromanage, without necessarily having to sit over their shoulder on every step of the process? So the best advice I can give today is it's a brick by brick trial of any hiring process.
Yeah.
Give them one task, see how they do. Give them one assignment. And if they deliver, give them a second or a third. The second thing I would say is pay well, because if people don't feel appreciated, they're just going to go elsewhere. And the reality is, if you're doing the things that you should be doing with proper training and proper SOPs and good infrastructure, you don't want to lose quality people. And if they're not feeling valued monetarily, they're going to leave.
Right.
So pay well, pay better than you should, because in the long run, it's going to cost you more to replace, retrain, rehire, and restaff than just paying the person you already have that you know is great a little bit more.
Yeah, probably a lot more, right? It'll cost you like trying to have to replace somebody.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You've said before that most lawyers aren't trained to think like entrepreneurs. What did you mean by that? And how do you think people need to shift their mindset?
There's this old mindset that the older generation has, what I like to call the we know best mindset. We know better than you. We're telling you what you need to know. And that's part of the problem, and why I see a lot of solo practitioners, a lot of lawyers, and really just professionals overall fail. And it's a known statistic that most businesses fail in the first 2 years, but it's specific to professionals, because they're not realizing that the we know better than you, or we know best, is no longer how people are hiring a lawyer or an accountant or an insurance agent. The information's out there. Now, how are you going to make sure that they're getting it from you? How are you going to make sure that you are the authority in the field? And this is the shift in mindset that I see between successful professionals and unsuccessful professionals. The unsuccessful don't understand that at the end of the day, this is a business and you have to give the people what they want. And the people are hungry for knowledge. They're hungry for information. And for the most part, they can find it for free. Now, if they can find it for free, they should be able to get it from you for free. The ones that are successful are capitalizing on that. They're pushing out as much content as possible, whether it's articles or blogs or write-ups or YouTube videos or social media posts, public speaking engagements, TED Talks, whatever it is. They're getting the information out there, and by them delivering the information, you're constantly in the public's eye. So they're getting the exposure. And if you look at any very successful entrepreneur, take a Gary Vee or take a Elon Musk or take a Donald Trump, just hypothetically, what do they spend the bulk of their time on? FaceTime. They're out in the public. They're out building their brand. Why? Because that's how you build a company. It's getting exposure. They're not sitting at the desk. They're out speaking to people. They're out engaging. They're in the midst of speaking engagements. They're on podcasts. They're on write-ups, and this is to get their brand known. We live in a time where access to information is infinite. The world is this big. Mm-hmm. We used to be in a place where getting information from the United States to Australia used to take us months, years. This is instant. It's in the palm of your hands. So there's nothing stopping you from exposure. And the best part, it's free. So if you really know how to do it, you should be spending your time at a minimum building your social media presence, working on your online interactions with your clients. Because if nothing else, it costs you nothing and it builds authority.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because you've appeared on major networks like MSNBC. Do you feel like media plays a big role in credibility and growth, especially large media like that?
I definitely feel large media plays a role in growth. Now, large media doesn't pay attention to you unless there's a reason to pay attention to you.
Sure.
So you had to build an authority for yourself for an MSN or an MSNBC to pick you up. But absolutely, you have to be willing to put yourself out there. Public speaking is one of the most important parts. And that's the other part is, unfortunately, professionals are sitting behind their desk, they're doing their work, they're hoping more work is on the way, but they're not spending the time getting their branding out there. They're not hiring the right people. Often you can't be a jack of all trades. At the end of the day, you're a professional. You do what you do best, but there are only so many hours in the day. Mm-hmm. And we all have the same 24 hours. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of how we use it. So I think that major media outlet is an authority builder, but it can't be your only authority builder. It needs to be a tool in your toolbox. And once you start putting yourself out there, MSNBC is not going to call you from day one. You're going to have to do some of the smaller channels, but it's exposure, because even any exposure is better than none. Mm-hmm. And in today's market, I don't care what industry you're in, what works for you today may not work for you tomorrow. The more well-rounded you are, the better off you'll be. If avenue number 1 is closed and isn't bringing you business today, that's okay. Avenue 2 and 3 will. And there are what I call rental space. For example, Google Ads, which are great.
Sure.
You turn it on today, you run out of money tomorrow, and it's gone. There is no more rental space. And there are long-term authority building platforms. Creating content is out in the ether forever.
Mm-hmm.
You can recycle it. You can reuse it. You can cut it up. So if you're smart about it, the ones that understand today's game are not just diversifying, but they're focusing their efforts into long-term plays where your presence, regardless of whether you're spending money or not, people are going to find you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not opposed to, pay-per-click ads. I think that's great, but it needs to be another tool in your toolbox.
Let's go back to our pillars. What's the third pillar of success?
The third pillar of success for us is, and really for any law practice, has to be client experience, communication, feedback, and improvement. Number one, communication with your clients must be key. And this goes and speaks to everything from your initial point of contact, who is running intake for your firm, what kind of feedback are they getting from your clients at the intake point, how are you maintaining communication with your clients through the lifetime of your file. If they are not able to reach you, you're going to piss some people off, because at the end of the day, they're paying you for a service. Now, you can't be everywhere at once. It's not possible, but you better make sure your team is, and you better make sure your team is equipped to deal with your clients. And constant communication, it doesn't have to be lengthy. People want to make sure that they're heard, that they're seen, that they're just not another number on a piece of paper or in your, CRM or Excel sheet. And most importantly, feedback and improvement. You have to implement a system in your practice of constantly receiving feedback from your clients. How else can you improve your business? How else can you know what you're doing right or wrong without objective feedback? Who's going to give you better feedback than your clients? And negative feedback is just as good as positive feedback. Yes, of course, everybody loves positive feedback. That means you're doing something right. But
That
negative
gives us our
feedback,
dopamine, right?
exactly. But your negative feedback are your pain points. These are the things you need to work on. This is what we need to address. So we have a whole department in our firm that's specifically dedicated to client relations and client success. We have a whole infrastructure built out for communication with our clients. And client feedback and client experience has to be top three overall in any successful business, and definitely one of our four pillars of success.
Yeah, and I think people's I want to say demands, but people need a good experience these days, whether it's an app or a service or whatever. People are as a society, our patience for a lack of service is low as ever, I feel like. And in a good way. In a good way.
I couldn't agree more. And the quality is just not great.
Yeah.
So if you're delivering a better service than everybody else, and look, it doesn't take much. It's an extra phone call.
Right.
It's an extra email.
Yep.
Just an acknowledgement that I'm here, that you're heard.
You're heard.
That's
Yep.
what people are looking for. I can't tell you how irritated I get when I get on the phone with Verizon or with whoever, and I'm just speaking to a machine.
Yep.
And I'm just going at it on the phone. I want to speak to a human, because at the end of the day, what are we looking for? Human experience.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for communication. And I'm all for AI. I think it's amazing, and I think it's a game changer. But at some level, without that human touch, at some point in the communication, you're going to fail.
I agree. All right, so there's one more pillar. What do we got for number 4?
Pillar number 4 has to be the most important pillar, and that's your work product. Delivering your service and delivering a product is the most important key to any business. Number one, as an attorney, as a professional, your service has to be second to none. It is the reason for being. It's the reason why people are coming to you. So talking the talk is great, but walking the walk really solidifies you. Now, your service is part of it, but like any business, you are the product. So at the end of the day, people are coming to you because you are you. The ability to replicate that at the end of the day is up to you as a business owner. It's up to you as a firm owner. You have to deliver a solid service. You have to be the best in your industry, but you also have to be able to sell yourself as a product, because at the end of the day, you as a firm are a product and a commodity just like anything else. Mm-hmm. So a law firm is a combination of the two. They're buying a service, but they're also purchasing a product, and your firm is the product. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why this is the most important pillar, because it encompasses all of the other pillars. It encompasses authority. It encompasses operations, client experience. At the end of the day, you being the product is what allows you to grow. It allows you to expand. It allows you to be an authority in your field. And if your client experience isn't positive, if your operations are not on point, if your advertising, marketing is great, that's fine. But ultimately, it comes to a culmination of you. And it comes down to my ultimate mantra, which is consistency and persistence. You being a product is a necessity for your business to stay alive. But in order for your business to stay alive, you have to be consistent in what you're doing. Your service excellence must be consistent. Your persistency in doing better and being better than who you were yesterday must be done on a daily basis. The best version of you yesterday needs to be the worst version of you today.
I like that. All right, well, that's it for today's episode of Obsessed with Success. Russell, thank you very much for being so candid about the grind and the growth. I think it's really inspiring and certainly great pillars, great advice on how to start and to grow. You know, if you're out there and you're a lawyer thinking about your next move, this episode, think of it as your roadmap. It's come back to it multiple times if you need to. I think it's really good stuff. Subscribe, leave a review, share it with someone who's building their own empire. I know that these words will definitely make an impact and help them along the way. Russell, so good to see you again. Thank you so much for being here.
Likewise, till next time on Obsessed with Success.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.